Good morning everyone, beautiful sunny Wednesday morning, and it's time for our quick ready to run workout. So if you're joining me this morning, do make sure that you've got a nice safe clear working area and something to use just for a bit of stability should you need it. Make sure you've got enough room as well to take your leg forwards, to the side and to the back, so you've got plenty clear safe working area. And please do remember that if I haven't seen you, that you are doing this at your own risk. I have to say that makes it sound really severe, doesn't it? But we all need to look after our bodies and make sure that we're staying safe. Good morning, Paula. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to start in a moment's time. We're going to be focusing on our breathing to begin with, because that's a very, very important part of running that's often neglected. How many of you do your run and come back with really tight, achy shoulders and neck because you've been letting your shoulders go up and down and breathing shallowly up into your shoulders whilst you're on that run? Maybe after you get a bit tired, you start off with good intentions, but things tend to take over and you're focusing on other stuff and not on your breath. Okay, so we're going to make a start. Just come into what we call good standing posture, so that's heels underneath your hip bones. I sounded a bit like Miranda's mum then, didn't I? What do I call? Okay, good standing posture, heels under your hip bones, toes level, feet parallel. So really do make sure you're not turned out for this, okay? We want those big glutes working, okay? Now you're going to take your hands onto your ribs. So fingers round the front, thumbs round the back. Now try and relax your shoulders down if you can, stand tall. Take a big breath into your hands. Exhale through the mouth. Now keep that going for me. You should be feeling lots of good expansion around here. If you're not, this is one to really practice. It's going to help you so much with your stamina. You'll get less cramps, less build-up of that lactic acid, okay? So big breath in, exhale, and we're going to try and make sure that we're thinking about that while we're working today through the exercises. So we're just going to get a bit of expansion into the rib cage now with a couple of stretches which are great to add into your warm-up. So standing tall, take one arm up and over. Now lift out of your hips and think of reaching across the ceiling, so it's not a crunch down into the side. Stretch out of it. Feel this side open. Now breathe into here and come back down. Let's do that to the other side. Lift and reach out of the hip and back down. We'll do one more to each side. Big breath in. And you might find it feels different on one side than the other, so really connect, feel what's happening in your body. So if you're a bit stuck on one side of your rib cage, focus on that side stretch, get that rib cage opening. We're going to go into the back now, so we're coming up and over, inhale. Now keep your hips still, reach forwards, open the back, breathe in, and come up and down. Up and over. Exhale, reach the body forwards, not the hips. Breath into this open side. And down. One more each of those. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Last one. Hold it for that breath in and down. Right, now to get some air into the front, we're actually going to do a nice little running move for this. So I want you to come into a split stance. Okay, so one leg back, just check your hips haven't rotated, both hips pointing forwards. Now what we're going to do is rock onto that back foot, draw the elbow back, big breath into the front. And again, so roll down through, try not to turn that back leg in. So you're getting a calf stretch and a bit of foot activation at the same time. Breath in. Is your shoulder coming up to your jaw? Try and keep a long neck. Now we're going to make that a bit bigger. We're going to rock back. Now big stretch out. One more. Big breath in. And step. Okay, to the other side. So again, just check as you come back you don't turn that foot inwards. I want you to push it straight away so you get that calf stretching. So let's stand tall, draw back. So you're trying to keep your hips facing the front, just turning from above the waist. So we're also getting some good abdominal activation here. Great for your core stability. Very important when you're running. Now for opening that arm and a really big breath. Let's rock back. Open. And over. Rock back. And over. Okay, fantastic. So coming to whatever you're using as support, we're going to start facing it. So rest your hands on lightly. Feet hip distance again. And we're just going to start with some foot pedals to begin with. So make sure you're stood tall, pelvis neutral, and what we want to try and do is make sure as we bend the leg, we're not lifting the hip up. So if you'd rather do this with hands on the hips just to check what's happening, do that. Okay, so lifting the heel. Now feel where the pressure's going as you do this. Try and press into your middle toe. No gripping the floor. Okay, so when we grip the floor with our toes, weirdly changes an awful lot of things in the body and how they work. So allow those toes to stretch out rather than thinking of gripping the floor. What's your ankle doing? Is it going round in a little circle, or is it just going straight forwards and back down? So if it's going in a little circle, really focus on trying to get it just going forwards and back. And that's going to include some hip stability. Okay, it's nothing to do with your knees. That's foot and hip. So warming those feet up. Okay, in some little knee bends, I want you to think of sitting back towards your heels and pushing back up. Inhale down. Exhale, push up. So what are your knees doing? Are they collapsing inwards? Think of sending them straight forwards. Again, this is hips. So control it from the hip, keeping that spine tall. 2 more. Now, into double heel lifts. Try not to press onto your support. Spread the toes out, press into your middle toe, pull up, roll back down. So feeling what's happening. Don't worry if you don't get very high. The more you do this, the stronger it'll get. Okay? So really try to feel like you're not rocking forwards. Think straight up and back down. Okay? So if you rock, you're not going to get that strength building up. So even if it's only tiny up and down, just keep working there, okay? That height will come as you get stronger. So, shoulders back, staying tall. Are you still working on those big breaths? I have to be careful how I say that. Could come out a bit rude. Right, up onto the toes. Now we're going to do our foot pedals from the top. So you're going to press one heel down, come up, switch. So make sure you're on a rise on both legs in the middle. Are your knees still going over your toes? Now we're going to go a little bit faster and push. What are your hips doing? Are you keeping them stable, or are they doing a bit of a salsa? Let's try not to salsa. If your hips are salsaing when you run, you're going to get a really achy bum, okay, because certain muscles are going to be really overworking because your stabilisers aren't switched on. Okay, so let's keep those hips strong. And one more, and then back to that rise for me. Now we're going to go back to those knee bends. Stay on the rise if you can. Knees forwards. Keep the body upright. I want you to feel hamstrings here. Are you quad dominant? Is everything happening at the front? Think of pulling your sitting bones, which when you sit down, those little bony bits that you sit on, think of pulling them towards your heels. That's going to help you switch your hamstrings on. They should be doing some work here. Now if you're really hamstring dominant, try and get those quads switching on. And one more. And up. Let's come back to those foot pedals. Keep pressing through. And don't forget about that breath. Now come back to that rise. We're going to do a little step back and a stretch. Now don't drop down into it. I want you to ease into the stretch even though it's a little bit quick. So you're going to step back, push the heel down, step in. Step back, push the heel down, step in. So ease that heel down towards the floor. Feel that you're rolling through your foot. One more. And rolling back down. Okay, well done. Attention to the hips now. So we're going to turn to face sideways. Okay, we're going to start with feet together now. I want to get a bit of inner thigh activation as well. So just standing tall, ankles in contact, inside of the knees in contact. Take a big breath in. Now as you exhale, squeeze your knees together and feel that you're zipping up through the middle of the body, right up to your throat. You should feel your ribs come down. Pelvic floor lifts too. Breath in. Exhale, squeeze those knees together. So try and make sure it's not the kneecaps you're squeezing together. Inside of the knee, that knobbly bit there. Okay, big breath in. Exhale. Now how many of you are doing that just by squeezing your bum? Try not to do that, just the knees. That's going to activate your pelvic floor, all your abdominals and that inner thigh. One more. Okay, from there, we're going to take hand onto the hip and we're going to do, it's actually a ballet move, tendus. Okay, we're going to be sliding along the floor. I'd like you to try and stretch your foot as you do this. So we're going to push forwards, lift your heel, stretch down through your middle toe and back in. Stretch and in. We're going to do two more. And then we're going to go to the side. So this is really where you need to focus on not hitching that hip up. Stabilise through your standing leg, switch this hip on and push out. Squeeze the knees together as you come back in. Slide out and back in. Now if you're just feeling the front of your thigh, your quads switch on, then your leg is maybe going forwards on diagonal a little bit. We want to feel it right here at the side. And then we're going to go to the back. Now when we go to the back, try not to arch your back. So exhale, pull your tummy in. I want you to feel that big glute working. Okay, breath in. Exhale, slide back. And in. Slide back. And in. So breath out. in. Okay, so we've been working your stabiliser on this side as well. Let's just take a little knee bend to release that out. We're coming back to those moves, but we're going to go a little bit higher. We're coming off the floor now. So we're going to go forwards, lift, down and in. Forwards and lift, down and in. Really stretch that foot. One more. Okay, to the side. Now lift. Can you feel that hip work? You feel both hips work. Pull up. So try not to rely on your support. Rely on this hip for stability. Anchor yourself through your foot. Use that floor. Pull up. And one more. And down, right to the back. Push. Exhale, lift. And in. Are we feeling that big glute working? Push. And in. Lift that toe. Two more. And last one. And in. Right, standing leg, take it across, press your knee out to the side, come into a hip stretch. I bet that hip was feeling it. So just focus on stretching there, big long deep breaths. And pushing up. Right, let's do those to the other side. So parallel feet, knees together, hand onto the hip. We're going forwards, staying on the floor for the first set. Pushing forwards and down. So gliding along the floor. This is where you get to really work your feet. And last two. And then we're going out to the side. So push out and back in. Push and in. Keeping the legs parallel. Sliding onto the big toe. I think we've got one more, I've lost count. There we go. Right, to the back. Exhale, push back, work that glute. And push. Last two. Exhale, we're not arching that back. And in, give me a couple of little knee bends. Right, now with the lift. So we're going forwards, lift. And in. Keep pulling up tall as you lift. So it's not a great big high lift. Hold. That's it. And down. So that little moment of the legs suspended in the air. Right, out to the side. Lift. And in. Keep pulled up on that supporting side. Remember, that's working just as hard. Last two. And one more. Okay, to the back. Push, lift, and in. Keeping the hips square to the front. And working that big glute. Two more. And last one. And in. Okay, time for that stretch. Cross it over. Come into your stretch. Use a little bit of pressure onto the thigh if you need to deepen it. And pushing up. Right, now to our little test exercises. So, onto your single leg calf raises. Standing tall, try not to press onto your support. Spread those toes out, think middle toe. Lift that heel and down. Two more. Last one. Now, take that leg back, come into your single leg lunges. What's happening? Are you still getting that knee going forwards, or is it twisting inwards? Is your hip hitching up? Two more. Last one, and switch. Right, so making sure you've got room for your knee, pulled up tall, and up and through that middle toe. And don't worry if you're different on one side than the other. I know my right side needs a bit more work, my left side is definitely stronger. So if you need to, do some extra on the side that needs to catch up a bit. One more. Okay, taking that knee back into your single leg lunges, knee forwards and up. Two more, and then we're going to go into some nice stretches. And up. Okay, sorry, a bit croaky this morning. Right, from there, we're going to go into stretches. As I said, we've already done the hips. We've done the calves. Let's go into Achilles tendon. So step towards your support. Step the leg back, push your heel down. So you're getting that calf stretch again. Now, try and keep your heel down. Bend your knee forwards. Now, this is fantastic stretch if you've got plantar fasciitis. If you don't know what that is, you probably haven't got it, because if you've got it, you know about it. It can be very painful. A very tender heel. Okay, now, step onto that standing leg, pick up your foot into your quad stretch, knees together and tuck the pelvis under. So if you let your back arch, you're not going to feel that stretch. You have to tuck under, pull the abdominals in, and then you'll feel that stretch go down the front of your thigh. And let's release. Changing legs, step back, heel down, and then start to soften that knee. Feel that the stretch changes, it goes into a different place. And stepping onto that leg, pick up the foot at the back, pelvis tucked under. Okay, from there, let's do some hamstrings and inner thigh. I'm going to move my chair forwards a little bit. Legs wider. Push the hips back. Feel that stretch go up the back of the legs. Allow your chest to lower till you feel a good stretch all the way up into those glutes as well. Really lengthen out that spine so that you can breathe properly. Now push your hips over to the right. Feel that stretch go into the inner thigh. And then over to the other side. You want to hold each stretch for about 3 breaths. And centre. Now soften those knees, step in. You're going to come up into a hip flexor. So kneeling down, step the leg forwards because you want to have somewhere to move. And it's opening this hip, so again, try not to arch your back. So press forwards, use your chair for support. You can do this without if you want to. And I want you to feel that hip open. Now hip flexor is different. It's not one to hold. It's one to gently mobilise, because remember, we want our hip flexors to be stretchy, but we don't want them to be overstretched. So gentle mobilisation, because those muscles, some of them should be nice and tight to stabilise us. So we're going to come forwards, take the arm up. Now think of lifting out of the hips. Can you feel that stretch now go up to your ribs? Does it go even deeper if you lean towards your support? Hip flexors attached to the spine, round about tummy button area. Okay, so we'll do that to the other side. Stepping forwards. I've not swapped legs. That would help, wouldn't it? Make sure you've got room to move. Knee forwards, over the toes. Really opening that hip. So it's a matter of just feeling what's happening in your body as you do this. Now this next one, we're going to take it deeper. Take the arm up, reach out of the hips, reach towards your support, and back in. Okay, let's step in and come up. And thank you very much for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed that. So who have we had in here? Sharon, hi, and Kay, and Jen, and Cheryl. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back again on Monday for another Ready to Run session. See you there.